Hello, everybody. This is your boy Navi reacting and reviewing to The Flash Season 4, Episode 1. The Flash is Reborn. Okay, let's get right into it. We have Iris starting off the show with her monologue of she's Iris. She's married to the fastest man alive. But yet, we have no Barry because why? As of season three's ending, he's in the Speed Force because he took down Savitar. And unfortunately, that leaves Iris alone and single. Well, knowing any other man that sees that Iris is single, I have something special for you that you could help her with that every good woman needs. Bam! Please fill this form out and we can turn it into her so we can help her in her time of need. But back to the review, people. We begin this episode with Team Flash hunting down the metahuman Peekaboo because she's stolen something, and I guess with no Flash, someone has to stop her. So as of right now, the only people protecting the city are Vibe, Kid Flash, and Joe, with Iris as their leader. Now here's one thing that gets me. How can Iris lead a team when she has no powers? Is it me, or does every female that's in a CW Arrowverse show always have to be the voice behind all the heroes? I mean, what's up with that? But good thing for Team Flash, luckily that Iris is leading the team, they were able to figure out how to catch Peekaboo. So I guess it all works out in the end. Later that night, Samurai, of all things, a samurai, enters the city and tells everybody to turn over the Flash or he'll destroy the city. So because of Cisco's big mouth, the samurai shows his true power and pushes back not only the police force, but Team Flash as well. So now they have to figure out how to save the city from the samurai. And luckily for Cisco, he has a plan which he has yet to tell anyone of. He knows how to get Barry out of the Speed Force. But because of her promise to Barry, Iris disagrees and says it's a no-go, that they will not be pulling Barry out of the Speed Force and cause destruction for the city. Since Cisco couldn't get anyone to agree with him, he decided to go out anyway to a bar and recruit Caitlin, of all people, to help him, knowing that she was still Killer Frost deep inside. As a kind gesture, Caitlin agrees to help Cisco remove Barry from the Speed Force and use his plan to help save the city. The next day, Cisco calls Joe and Kid Flash to the training field where they used to train Barry, where they are reintroduced to Caitlin and the Speed Force bazooka, which is used to help pull Barry out of the Speed Force. After everyone is reunited, Cisco starts the experiment off by firing the Speed Force bazooka and opens up the Speed Force portal to try to remove Barry from the Speed Force. Unfortunately, the test was a failure and Barry did not end up at the testing field. He wound up coming out of the Speed Force in the city running through and winding up in the middle of the country, naked. Can you imagine just being naked in the middle of the country? Man, love. There's nothing like it. After the failure of the test, Iris confronts the team and goes off on them because not only did they do the experiment, but the experiment failed and showed no sign of Barry returning to the team. It was at this point that Joe got a call from his girlfriend, ADA Cecile, and she tells him to come down to the precinct immediately because Barry has been returned. Team Flash immediately gathers up and goes to the police department to retrieve Barry, to find that he's in a mental state and writing down this weird language on the walls. So as a precaution, instead of taking Barry to the hospital, they take Barry back to Star Labs and run a few tests on him to where they start playing Lady Gaga to get him to come back to his senses as they did in the first episode of Season 1. Unfortunately, at this point, the music or the reminder of Barry's past can help Barry get out of his mental state as he goes into the Speed Force and terrorizes Star Labs. So, in order to stop Barry, Caitlin uses the frost gun used by Captain Cold in order to stop him. At this point, the samurai returns to the city early to find the Flash and confront him. But due to the fact that Barry is out of commission being mental, Wally West decides to step up and don the Flash suit to take on the samurai. The samurai immediately notices the difference and lets Kid Flash know that he knows that he's not Barry. And unfortunately for Wally, which it turns out to be no good, he loses to the samurai after the samurai launches his katana into his fibula, which is in his leg, stopping Kid Flash from going after him or even being able to fight. After retrieving Wally and taping him up, Cisco decides to try to decode Barry's Speed Force language, which he has no idea how to do until Caitlin makes him realize that it's not any normal language, but a new language that can be deciphered. And at this point, I do have a spoiler alert to let you know this house is bitchin'. But unfortunately for Team Flash, time is up and the samurai returns to the city and keep his promise of destroying it unless they produce the Flash. At which point, Iris goes to the city and confronts the samurai and allows herself to be captured. Scared out of his mind, Joe returns to Star Labs to alert Barry that Iris has been taken hostage and he needs Barry to wake up and go rescue her. To which at this point, Barry ignites with the Speed Force and rushes out of Star Labs with the new suit Cisco made for him in order to combat the samurai. Barry speeds throughout the city to catch up to Iris as Team Flash watches and alerts each other that Barry is going as fast as he's ever gone before after exiting the Speed Force. We wind up in the fields of a windmill factory where Barry has to go and save Iris. As he flies through the field, the samurai destroys windmills in order to slow down Barry, but Barry, being creative, decides to run up one of the windmills and jump in mid-air to kick the samurai out of it and grab Iris before she falls. Once Barry rescues Iris, we are finally reintroduced to Team Flash, the new Team Flash with Barry as its leader. Later that night, Caitlin returns to the bar where she was working to try to get a hold of the woman named Amunet. And since she wasn't there, she got his right-hand man to alert Amunet that she would no longer be working for her and that she's leaving to go back to Team Flash. As the episode wraps up, we finally get a view of the season's main villain, the Thinker, along with his wife. So, this is episode 1 of season 4. I will be back later with episode 2 at a later date. So for right now, I want to thank you all for taking the time to listen to this review. I'll be back later. You all have a good day.